Twilight Payment has taken the winner's purse in what is potentially the strangest Melbourne Cup on record. Second home was Tiger Moth and third over the line, Prince of Arran. It's said the race at Flemington stops two nations, but this year it was COVID that brought things to a screaming halt. So no encore spectators, no colourful flurry of fashion or flocks of sun and booze-soaked race-side punters. Des Coppins has been in the crowd at the Melbourne Cup for 29 races, but not this time. So, Des, where are you?
I'm actually in Wellington, Lisa. I'm at the Ridges Hotel. They had a charity race day, per se, if you like, here today with Life Flight Trust raising funds for a wonderful cause. And about 100 people. So you're dead right. Very far extreme from the 100,000 people I'm used to on Melbourne Cup Day at Flemington.
So, what are your thoughts on the winners?
Well, it's great to see young jockeys make the grade. Jai McNeil is a battling rider. He's had one Group 1 win. And for those people who are not too sure how this group rating works, Group 1 races are very, very hard to get. But some jockeys have ridden 100. A jockey like Jimmy Cassidy won a couple of Melbourne Cups, won 100 Group 1s, the New Zealand jockey. Jai McNeil's only won one beforehand, so he's won his second Group 1. It happens to be the daddy of them all, the Melbourne Cup. So a great thrill for him, no doubt. And the trainer Robbie Griffiths, and also for the horse itself. It ran in the Cup last year, but it just ran probably an average race, but they reckoned that the horse's form coming to the race was a lot stronger this year, and so it proved, leading all the way. And doesn't happen very often. A horse called Might and Power led all the way to win a Melbourne Cup. My memory tells me that. And but there's this horse doing the job again today, so congratulations to all concerned.
Bit of a disappointment for all the Kiwis involved, though. I was screaming at the radio there, Des.
Pardon?
I was screaming at the radio there for a moment.
Good on you. You're a true blue Kiwi like most of us. And I was cheering for the chosen one. He made a bit of a move halfway up the straight, and I thought he was going to certainly be a major contender. But he wasn't disgraced. He's a very good horse, the chosen one. And he's still learning the game, I suppose, in some respects. But he's up with the big boys and girls now. And probably to be fair, even though we are not there this year, and even though you think of crowds of 100,000 people at Flemington on Melbourne Cup Day, and you think of all the owners and all the trainers and all the jockeys that are there as well. This is probably a case of, this is probably the best field we've seen for a long time. I never thought that would happen. I thought the race would be back to the old days of rivalry like a Bledisloe Cup between Australia and New Zealand only. But as this turned out, only one New Zealand horse was good enough to get in the field, the chosen one. And the rest of the horses, are good horses from Australia, not many, but really the dominance came from the European nations. And this was a strong field. This is probably the strongest contingent of horses they've sent out this year. And as it proved, really, the horse that won, the horse that ran second, the horse that ran third, are all Northern Hemisphere type horses. So it's always going to be a hard race to win for New Zealanders here on in.
Des, was it a bit strange that there aren't the big crowds there? And does that make any difference to the race?
I don't think it does, except if you're an owner. If I was a horse, and I guess if I was an owner of a horse in a Melbourne Cup, I think anybody would probably share this thought too. If you were lucky enough to get a horse to a race like the Melbourne Cup, you'd want to be there. But for the owners, I feel sorry for. I mean, the punters can go there any old time, and you can go back there maybe next year with a bit of luck, but you might have been there before. But some owners dream about one day having a horse in the Melbourne Cup. So all those owners who had a horse this year in the Melbourne Cup, sitting at home in their lounges, watching it, or in a club or a pub or wherever they were, I reckon it might have been just a case of, okay, we're not there. We'll cheer our horse home, but gee, wouldn't it be great to be part of the atmosphere? The atmosphere's not there. We're in a funny old world, as we know at the moment. So that's what we were dealt with. But look, it'll be hard for the people. It'll be hard for the people that own horses. But at the end of the day, if you've got a horse that's picked up a bit of a check in the Melbourne Cup, I think you'd be still celebrating, wouldn't you?
Do you think it's going to have made much of a difference to the money that pours into this event?
That's a pretty good question. I mean, they're lucky in Australia to have the backing that they do have. I mean, in this corporate world of betting, I mean, we have the TAB in New Zealand, and we are in, the industry in New Zealand is not in the same position as it was, say, 20-odd years ago. Things are a bit tough at the moment. In Australia, they still have the corporate bookmakers taking punters bets left, right and centre. And so all these people have a bit of a levy. They have to pay for their journey, and so the stake money does increase because of that. I mean, a couple of years ago, a guy called Peter Belandis, who you're probably familiar with that name, he's tied up with the NRL as well. He actually sat down and he says, you guys, bookmakers, are getting a lot of money from our product, but you're not giving anything back. It's time you did. And they got about $100 million in 1 year. Well, that money went back at the stakes. And so we haven't got that in New Zealand. We have to fight for every dollar we can get. So Racefield's legislation has been something that's been working on for a long time. So therefore, those corporate bookmakers overseas throughout the world need to be paying back to New Zealand industry so that we can be in a position to be able to say, oh, listen, we can have big stake money too. So in this time, to answer your question briefly, in 12 months' time, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, the race is worth $6 million right now, but will it be worth $6 million this time next year? Who knows? I mean, that's the big question. They need to get people back because, I mean, that's the creme de la creme, getting people paying through to get in the gate. $75, I think it is, to get in the gate, and you get 100,000 people, well, there's your $7.5 million, isn't it, straight away? So these sorts of things in the bars, the food, everything else that goes with it for the day of the Melbourne Cup, they're missing out on that this year, so they need to get it back.
Appreciate your time this evening. That is Des Coppins, who is a veteran racing commentator. As I said, he's been in the crowd for 29 Melbourne Cup races, but not this time as COVID kept the real world spectators away.